Thank you so much for joining us for the launch this morning. I hope you found it informative, and it's really piqued your interest about what we do here and how you can get involved. We've been taking questions for the last week or so that we're going to answer now. We'll still be looking through the Twitter feed to see if any more come up. If we don't get around to them this morning, we'll get back to anyone that's answered questions as soon as possible. I'm going to take the first one, and the question is, how are you going to support non-hub schools and colleges? Which is a really good question. Our approach has always been to be really inclusive, so we really want to reflect the landscape of Gloucestershire and what that looks like. Realistically, there aren't that many state-funded schools or colleges in Gloucestershire that aren't already in the hub, but the few there are that aren't yet, we're still going to be working with. They're in our network, and they'll get to benefit from all of the communities of practice that we're developing and all of the learning that's going to be going on from the hub. Will extrapolate out to these schools and colleges. So hopefully they will see the benefit of the hub too, and they'll come on board. But that's it, yeah. I'm going to hand over now to Alex.
Thank you, Rob, and thank you everyone again. So a question I've got is, at Gloucestershire College, we're passionate about the value of professional development and work experience opportunities. As head of arts and media, we face challenges finding enough meaningful opportunities within the creative industries. So can the Careers Hub support students to link with those creative industries? I think first and foremost, we've seen a lot of concern raised around work experience and virtually and encounters with employers. With everything going on at the minute, and those encounters can't take place and those experiences can't take place, there is a concern that there's going to be a number of students who miss out on the opportunity. So it is something definitely we want to support schools and colleges within the county. I think that question we can just quickly break into two. Looking at work placements as an experience themselves, we are exploring the opportunities around virtual work experience. It's something that is very high priority at the minute in making sure we can still implement those experiences with the students. We're looking at potentially piloting a virtual work experience next year with a number of employers. This is in early stages of development. The key concept around a virtual work experience is that you need to have those multiple meaningful encounters still taking place over virtual means, so that's linking with numerous people within the company. Equally as well, you need some form of project base within that experience, so that the student is developing, learning, and can have an end goal at the end of it that they can present back to the company and get their feedback. There's a lot of new elements in there to make sure it's still a really meaningful encounter and work experience. Linking it to the creative industry, it is an industry that's at the forefront of new contacts that we're trying to link with. Gloucestershire is a great place for creative experiences. We appreciate that it spreads across SMEs, which we really are keen to link up with, but also those larger companies where they have their own internal marketing departments, for example. There could be some really interesting ideas to explore. So we're really keen to link with some new companies, look at potentially what project-based work that we could start to develop and put that into our pilot next year. So it's in early stages, but it's definitely on our hit list to get sorted and get arranged for next year. And we'll be keen to speak with schools and colleges to get an idea of how specifically that's going to work best for them as well. Thank you.
Now to Duncan.
Okay, thank you, Rob. So the question that is on many people's lips and has come through in the questions that we've received over the past couple of days is, what is the LMI offer from the Careers Hub going to look like? This is a really important question because it addresses benchmark 2, and it's something that is going to need to be hardwired into the whole career strategy of each of the schools and colleges that we work with. Essentially, I think we need to probably work it back and examine what are your individual labour market needs as organisations, but also as schools and colleges, what do you actually need from labour market information? And so what we'll be doing over the next couple of months is really to start to unpick what that really means to you in terms of the day-to-day use of labour market information to inform your students about their choices, to look at the bigger picture of what people are doing across the UK, how that's been affected by COVID-19, but specifically addressing it to what things are looking like in Gloucestershire, and how having data and information from authoritative sources can help your students to actually make some decisions and help you in your schools and colleges as practitioners advising young people on their decisions and choice making, to have a reliable set of information to work with. So the way that we'll do that is to, as I say, to look at the data sets, to chunk them down into sources that are helpful to you, and look at the wider set of information that's out there from multitudinous different organisations in different sectors, and touching obviously on what Alex had said about the creative sector, a sector that has received a lot of damage from COVID-19, what current contemporary labour market information is telling us about what's happening to that sector, because we know that an awful lot of young people want to go into that sector. I'm going to hand over to Roxy now for her question.
Thanks, Duncan. So one of the questions I've been asked is how the Careers Hub links to wider county initiatives. So at the moment, as we've touched on in the film, we're working closely with our Gloucestershire Skills Advisory Panel, who work to strengthen the links between employers, schools and colleges. And they're really there to help understand and analyse the current and future needs of the county and the skills that we need to be projecting into the schools and colleges at the moment. That in turn naturally reflects our local industrial strategy, as again we've touched upon in the film, which will support the objectives of the Careers Hub and puts young people at the heart, providing them with experiences and opportunities that they may not have had the opportunity to have had before the Careers Hub was in place. So I think that's what I wanted to add to that question. I don't know if anyone else has anything that they want to chip in on with that one.
Fab, I think that covers it. I think the only thing I would say, I had another question from Rebecca, who asked similarly, what other initiatives and programmes in Gloucestershire, such as GFirst, we're going to try and hook up with. And it's very much, cyber is really important for us. It's in our local industrial strategy, and it's a real key skills pathway that we need to develop. I'd like to say watch this space. There's some really interesting and exciting conversations going on between this team and the GFirst and NCSC team about how we can really work together in the future to help young people develop those skills. That's all I'd like to add to that. Thank you. And then over to Lauren. Thank you.
Lovely. Yep, so we've had another question come in here. How are you planning on supporting the schools and colleges with SEND students in the county? So my role specifically already supports the special education needs disability students in the county, as well as the alternative provision schools. As part of that role, we already have a SEND challenge and support group where the 7 community special schools come together along with local partners to support one another and address any issues that they're facing. We're looking to develop this further into a SEND community of practice, which takes the work that we've already been doing and spreads that wider across the county. SEND students aren't just in those specialist provisions, they're also in the mainstream schools as well. So we'll be using that platform as a kind of a spring off of that to address all of the SEND students across the schools and colleges across the county as well. So again, watch this space, it's definitely on the radar and we will be developing in the future. Back to you, Rob.
Fab, thank you. So that just about covers all the questions that we had in. It's worth just reiterating, we've got lots of exciting things in the pipeline, and it's going to be worth checking back with us and hopefully signing up to our newsletter as well, so we do get to keep you informed. What we're working on now is a really good events diary to give you an idea of what we're going to be doing over the rest of this academic year, so we'll get that out to you as soon as possible. That's really it from us. If there's any questions we've missed, we'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you have any other questions that you'd like to ask us, please do ping us an email. But thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's been nerve-wracking and exciting doing this. It's put us all out of our comfort zones a bit, but that's, I guess, something that's a really good thing. That's what we're asking young people to do all the time. So thank you very much. If this was Careers Hub the musical, the wall would drop away and we go off high kicking to a dance number now. It's not, so we're just going to say goodbye. Thank you very much.